Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. John Lee says Hong Kong is at a crucial stage as the city marks National Day. Restaurants and shops offer discounts to attract holiday makers, with public transport firms also doing their bit. And Hong Kong's gold rush in the Asian Games resumes, with Taichi Kho winning the golf title. Chief Executive John Lee has called on Hong Kongers to seize on the opportunities brought about by the mainland's economic development. His call came at the end of the flag-raising ceremony and reception marking National Day. Shortly before 8 a.m., the police flag party goose-stepped into Golden Bohemia Square in Wan Chai. Officers have adopted the Chinese-style foot drill since 2021, replacing the British marching drill used by the force for over a century. The commander then informed the chief executive that they were ready. "You may begin," replied John Lee. And so, the flag-raising ceremony began. Joining Lee in the first row was Liaison Office Director Jen Yang Shong, former Chief Executive Leung Chen-ying, and Chief Justice Andrew Cheung. The government flying service conducted a customary flyby, while a fireboat performed a water salute in Victoria Harbour. With the ceremony complete, the VIPs made their way to the convention centre for a cocktail reception.
為香港帶嚟源源不絕嘅機遇。
Lee dedicated the first 5 minutes of his speech to the national economy. Hailing the rapid growth on the mainland, the chief executive said that has brought unlimited opportunities to Hong Kong. He also noted that 2023 was a landmark year for the SAR, citing the 20th anniversary of CEPA, or Closer Economic Partnership Arrangement between the mainland and the city. The stock exchange also celebrated 30 years since the first mainland enterprise was listed in Hong Kong, Lee added, with mainland firms now accounting for nearly 80% of the total market capitalization in the SAR. Looking ahead, Lee pledged to do his utmost for the people's livelihood by drawing up measures in the forthcoming policy address. Hong Kong is at a crucial stage of advancing from stability to prosperity, he declared. He also called for unity to work for a better future for everyone. Security was heavy around the venue, with the police armored vehicles stationed at the entrance. In recent years, the public viewing area and protest zone were blocked because of COVID, but they were also closed today, effectively banning ordinary people from the vicinity. The festive atmosphere was in fever pitch across Hong Kong. Restaurants and cinemas lured customers with steep discounts, while some public transport offered free rides for holidaymakers. To celebrate National Day and lure spending, businesses across the city are offering discounts and deals to holidaymakers over the long weekend. Catering group Tai Hing, for example, is slashing 30% off the bill at its 200 or so outlets today. Diners voted with their feet, as seen by this queue outside one of its eateries at Olympian City during lunchtime. Moviegoers were also in for a treat, as tickets were sold at half price today at 64 cinemas. But response was lukewarm, as many seats were still up for grabs this afternoon. Even with hiccups and power outages, the outdoor market in Wan Chai has been a resounding success, as crowds continued streaming into the fair. But the festivities came to an untimely end at 5:30 p.m. after police decided to shut the venue ahead of the fireworks display over safety. public transport operators also did their part. Commuters could hop on and off a tram as many times as they wanted and not pay a penny. The MTR Corporation was less generous, with 3 rides only offered on the light rail and certain bus routes in northwestern New Territories. Children, however, could ride for free on most routes on the MTR network, as well as KMB services. Those who didn't feel like loosening the purse strings had plenty of other options to kill time. Many flocked to the Fire and Ambulance Services Academy in Chengquan-o to catch a joint parade of the disciplinary forces, as well as firefighting demonstrations. Despite the abundance of entertainment options, many remained unfazed and decided to spend the long weekend elsewhere. More than 410,000 residents left the city yesterday, according to the Immigration Department. National Day celebrations on the mainland began with the flag-raising ceremony in Tiananmen Square in Beijing this morning. Thousands of people from across the country traveled to the capital to mark the 74th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. Doves symbolizing peace were released as part of the ceremony. Many people are taking advantage of an 8-day holiday to travel to tourist spots on the mainland, Hong Kong, and overseas. Turning overseas, a politician who is considered to be pro-China has won the presidential election in the Maldives. Supporters of Mohamed Muizu celebrated in the capital Mali when news of his victory was confirmed. Muizu, who is mayor of Mali, won 54% of the vote in the second round of the polls in the Indian Ocean archipelago. His party favors Chinese investment, while the beaten incumbent Ibrahim Soli looked to India for support. A federal government shutdown in the United States has been averted with just 1 hour to spare when President Joe Biden signed a bill after it won Senate approval.
On this vote, the yeas are 88, the nays are 9. Under the previous order requiring 60 votes for the passage of this bill, the bill is passed.
Senators voted shortly after the House of Representatives passed the stopgap bill with overwhelming support from the Democrats. Congress now has 45 days to hammer out a long-term solution. The bill does not include additional funding for Ukraine, but earmarks a large sum for disaster relief. Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy introduced the bill, but it was opposed by 90 members of his own party, putting his leadership position at risk. Democrats hailed the vote as a victory.
We went from devastating cuts that would have impacted the health, the safety, and the economic well-being of the American people in 24 hours to a spending agreement that keeps government open, avoids a catastrophic government shutdown, and meets the needs of the American people in every possible way.
A nightclub fire in southeastern Spain has killed at least 11 people. The pre-dawn blaze occurred in the city of Murcia. The mayor has declared 3 days of mourning as distraught relatives sought news of their loved ones. It's not known what caused the fire, which erupted when the nightclub was busy. Officials took over a sports center to offer counseling services to those who lost family members. 2 police officers have been injured in a suicide bomb attack in the Turkish capital, Ankara. The explosion outside the Interior Ministry triggered panic and confusion. Ambulances rushed to the scene to treat the officers, whose injuries were said to be non-life-threatening. One attacker was killed in the blast, and it was understood that police killed a second attacker. Officials classified the assault as an act of terrorism and beefed up security around key buildings in Ankara. Finally, the weather. There's no respite from the heat tomorrow despite a few showers. The mercury will hit 33 degrees, and it will be even hotter in midweek. And that's our main news for Sunday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Raymond Yeung. Good night.